It also strikes me that in this world of, as Julian was holding up, cell phones, etc., we have a lot of different leaders, at least in terms of thought these days. The podcast leaders, the Reddit, Substack leaders, who all lead thought as well. And that makes it much harder for somebody just like a president to lead the country, because people are looking in different directions a lot these days.
No question about it. You have these new platforms that have risen, and in some cases we're not sure what's accurate or not in some of these platforms. And the other part of this is growing distrust. You've seen for quite some time Americans having growing distrust in the institutions that they are told throughout their entire lifetimes to have trust in. And you've seen that across the board. And so you've seen Americans gravitate towards other platforms. In some cases, it's podcasts, other platforms, and there are many people with podcasts who do a fantastic job. There are others who certainly don't, in terms of getting accurate information out there and educating the public and having a dialogue in a peaceful way. But look, it also comes down to people having trust in one another and having trust in institutions. You're seeing, for example, we talk about leaders. You're right, it's not just presidents, it's not governors or members of Congress, but it's also leaders of institutions. We're seeing growing distrust, for example, in many data points around healthcare in our country, particularly on the heels of the COVID pandemic. People having growing distrust in healthcare leaders. So I think it's incumbent on leaders, to your point, whether it's in the private sector, the public sector, or in the media sphere, in the podcast sphere, to do their part, to unite the country, to do their part, to get accurate information out there, and to do their part to make sure that we are championing language that's going to unite this country. And again, that's not to put, restrictions on what people can say. I am all for freedom of speech, but I'm also for recognizing when you have members of Congress, or in one case it was Vice President Harris going out and calling President Trump a fascist. That's, in my view, a problem. And I don't mean to keep bringing up that same example, but it's a core example of where we're at right now. But it is incumbent on both sides of the political aisle to unite, to come together, and do their part to make sure that there's positive rhetoric that will lead to a record of success of this country, having unity, and hopefully not having a situation like the Charlie Kirk assassination ever happen again.